Hi guys, Amy here. Today I want to talk about how we each have the power, you have the power to create your life, to create your circumstances. And I talk about this a lot, but I still have to remind myself in certain areas of this truth, this power to create your life, and the ability rather to create your life, to create your circumstances. And that includes the ability to change your life, to change your circumstances if something is not working for you. Now, this requires first getting present so that you can actually feel your emotions, listen to your intuition, and pay attention to how you're feeling. Give the problem some attention. A lot of times we want to reach for instant gratification. We want to feel better, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to feel better, but the only way around to get past the problem is through the problem. If you try to go around it, it's just going to meet you again on the other side. So yes, it does require some inner strength to get honest with ourselves about what is not working in our lives. But the really cool thing is that you have the power to shift it. And I'll give you a quick example. If I were having a disagreement about something with someone and I say, that's not going to work for me. Or if I say, that's not working for me, which is going to be better received? Whatever I put out, you can see is going to directly impact the person on the other side. And so, one thing I realize, and if we think about it, I'm sure we all can have seen this, noticed this in certain situations. Anytime we're being defensive, it's because we're scared. It's because we are hurting somewhere in there. And so the same is true for whomever we're speaking to. So if we can confront or approach rather others with that same understanding and some compassion, that if they're being defensive, if we put them on the defense, or if they're being defensive, it's because of their own hurt or fear. But we can create our circumstances in the way that we approach the situation, with our tone. And I want to switch gears real quick to talk about Dolores Cannon. So she is, she passed away, but I recently found her videos on Instagram and on YouTube, which were such a great comfort and resource to me when I lost my grandfather this past summer. We're super, super close. I love my grandfather so much, and I feel like he's still here with me all the time, so it doesn't hurt as bad as it could, because he's really just been there for me since I was young, since I was little. We've just been super, super tight. So losing him was challenging. But anyhow, so she talks a lot about spiritual stuff, spiritual content, the afterlife. She was an author and a hypnotherapist. She says, we are creating our lives. And if you don't like what's happening, change it. And that's what she means, those examples that I just gave. And even though I know this stuff and I talk about this stuff, I have a whole motivational talk that I do called You Create Your Life. And I do these talks at colleges and incorporate the concepts with my career coaching clients, because career is one area that career and goal attainment is one area that I've always been really strong in. I believe in myself that I can achieve whatever I set my mind to, and so I have the same belief in others, because how we see ourselves is how we see others. So I love helping others identify and get honest with themselves about what it is they truly want. I believe that we each have a purpose and that we can achieve it. And I love helping them to identify their goals, believe that they can achieve, and then take those action steps and then persevere when it gets challenging. I'm really good at that. However, I have, of course, my own challenges, and I have to remind myself to take my own advice. And if something's not working out, you'll keep encountering the same kind of situations, the same kind of discomfort, showing up with different people in different areas in your life, but it's that same emotion. You want to get curious about why it is there, and then you can do the deeper work to shift your perspective around that and just take a different action. And so I've been practicing this lately. I've got my own past painful experiences that create my perspective, the way that I'm seeing things. And that has been keeping me stuck, because things are not always the way that they seem. They are the way that we see them. So what if we decide to look at them a little bit differently. Then what shows up is going to be different. And that's one way that you can do that is the example that I just gave, where you can choose your response. You can choose your reaction. You can think about, okay, what do I want to create here? What have I been doing that's not working? What if I can choose something different? And a simple way to do that is to do the opposite. Whenever we take the same action, we're going to get the same result. So in those areas, now that's going to be working in a lot of areas likely in your life. But pay attention to and get curious about the areas that are not working. And then get curious about how you're showing up, how you're presenting yourself, what you're saying, what your actions are, what your energy you're putting out is, because that's creating your situation. And you can shift it. And so I did this the other day. I was the one area that has always been super challenging for me, that it's time for me to push through. It is time for me to grow past this challenge. I know that now's the time. And one reason I know is that the universe gives you, or people, or God, whatever your beliefs are, opportunities present when you are ready. So I have this opportunity, and it's time for me to not mess it up. So I have to make some changes. And so I'm taking the opposite action. So I might wake up with this emotion that is unpleasant, fear-based, and I want to take an action based on that. It's a defense mechanism that I formerly believed was keeping me safe and protected, but it's not. It's keeping me stuck. And so what I can do is observe the emotion and notice just be aware of the action I would have taken, am used to taking, and choose a different action that is not based on fear. It's another thing I often talk about, fear versus intuition. Sometimes when it's our own stuff, it can be a little more challenging to identify. And so I've been reaching out to some resources when I need to go outside of myself for the answer, and it's been really helpful. I hope this doesn't sound too vague and convoluted here, because I'm not being very specific with the thing. Maybe I will at some point. But the point is, you do have the power to create your life. And just in that example I shared at the start of the video, how we express ourselves, how we show up, and how we respond to others is going to create the situation. So take action out of kindness, even if you're afraid. When we're afraid, we may want to present as angry or something like that because we're defensive. But no problem. Just notice it, observe, choose a different action. You will create a different outcome. You have the power to create your life. I've known that in career. Now it's time for me to know that in some other areas in my life. And also check out Dolores Cannon if you're into spiritual kind of stuff. She's been super helpful for me too. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you got some value from the video, I invite you to like and subscribe so you can stay updated on my next video. Stay curious.